So thank you so much, everyone. Welcome to Big Tent USA. Um, my name is Kitty Douglas, and I'm so excited to host tonight's event with Comics for Kamala, Fair Fight Sister District, and Vote Forward. At Big Tent USA, we put democracy above partisanship. There are 26 days until the election, so we are thrilled to be doing something with you. George Wallace hit the stage in the late 70s at an open mic night in New York City. He has been in front of microphones ever since. His show at the Flamingo in Las Vegas was the longest running show owned and operated by an African American in Vegas history. Beyond the stage, he has appeared in dozens of movies and television series. He co-created and co-stars with Laverne Cox on the upcoming Amazon series Clean Slate, which is Norman Lear's final comedy. That's really something, George.
Yep, yep.
George has already received numerous Lifetime Achievement Awards, but doesn't plan to slow down anytime soon. And for that, we are so grateful. Why did you want to do Comics for Kamala? What got you going? You got a lot going on.
Let me tell you something. I'll do anything for Kamala. It could have been you running for office. It's I. This Trump. Trump is worse than the storms that are coming. I'm sorry to say that, but we have got to get him out of the picture. And Kamala is the right lady to do it. God bless her. And I'm so anxious to make this happen and to encourage other people to get involved. And I definitely want to talk to the undecideds. What the hell are you undecided about? Huh? What are you doing? You got a crook, you got a rapist, you got a racist, and you got Miss Harris. There is no choice. Like the congressman said, we got to put her in. We won't go back. I got so much to say. You have a question? Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I don't understand undecided, but there are, so we have to do that. So George, you're in Georgia right now. What's it like? What are the vibes like?
The vibes in Georgia. I'm in a. It's crazy. I'm in Atlanta, so you know what the vibes are here. The vibes are here to vote, get out and vote, and encourage your neighbors to vote. And I don't know what maybe was Lauren was saying. The three steps matter. I would get my grandparents to vote, but I'm 88, so I can't get them to vote. But we do have to get everybody out and vote. The vibes in Atlanta is just wonderful. We will win, and we will do all we can. I'm just excited. I'm from Atlanta, and I grew up with Dr. King and all of the great things. So I'm excited, and I'm here to work. Friday night, we're doing a show in Atlanta. George Wallace and Jennifer Holliday, believe it or not, is joining me at the Uptown Comedy Club, and we're going to raise money for Kamala to win. And it, I feel good about it. I think we will win. We will not go back.
We will not go back, George. Okay, by the way, 88, you are amazing. I mean, I'm just
Well, I
saying.
lie. Wait a second. Wait. I do lie for a living. I am not,
You're not 88. Did you just lie to me, George?
I,
What
well,
happened?
listen to me. I have the greatest job in the world, and I thank God for. I wanted to be a comedian since 6 years old, and I thank God for what I do. And I'm choking up now because all I do is lie. I love to lie, but I'm not lying about voting. We have got to get out there and vote and encourage our friends to vote and take everybody we know. I'm going to make sure all of my neighbors get out there and vote. And but yes, and speaking of lying, I asked God to let me be the greatest BS in the world, but then God told me, well, Trump beat you to that one, the biggest BS ever. I wish I could cuss.
I mean, we'll edit it out. You can cuss away, George. Don't you
Well,
worry.
he's the biggest bullshitter in the world. And I don't know why people don't understand that. You see the guy's lying right there in your face. He's never going to do anything for you. And I don't know. I am angry at all African American men and anybody that's in love with this guy. It's just, I understand it. And yes, I said it. I said it. He has nothing for you, never done anything for our community or any other community. It's all about Trump. I hate him. I don't hate many people. Okay.
Okay. I like the honesty. We did put the link in. If you're in Georgia, the Comics for Kamala show on Friday night, and we will put it in the recap as well. But if you're in Georgia, I highly recommend getting there. I got to go to a show in New York on Saturday night, the Comics for Kamala show in New York. It was really great. Okay, George, you've seen a lot in your lifetime. As you were talking about, you knew Martin Luther King. You went to his funeral after an incredible tragedy when he was murdered. How do you stay in this realm of humor and joy and moving forward all the time when I'm feeling that some of the hurdles that you've had to face must have felt insurmountable.
Well,
Give us
first
some
of all,
inspiration, George.
let me say this. I have been so blessed in life. Life has been really good for me. Like I said, wanting to be a comedian since 6 years old and wanting to work Las Vegas and going to Las Vegas and owning a show at the Flamingo and in the city for 15 years. Comedy has been my life, and I just love what I do. And I hope everybody else is enjoying their life like I am. And comedy, laughter is the greatest medicine in the world. That's why we encourage people to overdose on laughter. We encourage people to keep it laughter in the reach of children. And when you start laughing for more than 4 hours, then you call your doctor and give the doctor the prescription so the doctor can laugh along with you. It's important to laugh. When you stop laughing, you stop living. So make sure whatever you do, no matter what you do, you got to keep laughter.
I really appreciate that, and I couldn't agree more with you. Okay, so George, I know your time is very precious, so I want to let you go, but I just have uh, if you could give everybody on this call like some parting words of wisdom about what we need to do in the next 26 days. Please just send us some good vibes and some really good inspiration so that we all do something every single day for the next 26 days.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is George Wallace. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to have a better life. In order to have a better life, you have a better choice. You have a better choice, and that is Miss Harris, Miss Kamala Harris. She's a strong leader. She's for us. She's not a BSer. And I just encourage you to do the right thing. Do the right thing, okay? And I appreciate you, and you need to know I love you. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it. In the next 26 days, make sure we get out there and we go vote. I have got to vote. You've got to vote. We have no choice. We got to keep America strong and keep America on the right path.
That's great, George. Thank you so much. It was such an honor to meet you. I've just had the best time talking to you. So thanks for coming to Big Tent. Have a great time on Friday night, and we'll keep track of you, okay?
Thank you so much once again. Let's go vote.
Are you there, Congressman Swalwell? We'd love to get like a little rallying cry for you from you about tonight.
Here, of course.
Fantastic. All right. There you are. So nice to meet you.
Same here. Thank you all for doing this.
Yes, we pivoted away from you, but you're back. Okay, so Congressman, you're a congressman from California, the 14th district. You started working with Comics for Kamala. Tell us why, and tell us what you're thinking these last, 26 days before the election. And then we'll go back to George.
Yes, yeah. Well, Kitty, thank you, and Big Tent USA, as well as Fair Fight, Sister District, Vote Forward, George, of course, and Comics for Kamala for doing this. But we've got 27 days to go, and a massive hurricane is about to land in the Tampa area of Florida. And one candidate for president is doing everything he can as this hurricane threatens our friends and family in Florida to bring misinformation, disinformation to the storm and just create confusion at a time that people need to count on their government the most. The other candidate, Vice President Kamala Harris, is calmness and leadership and seriousness in this storm, trying to make sure that as people leave their homes, travel with their loved ones, find gas, find shelter, get food, that they know that their government is going to have their back if something happens to their property. This could not be a clearer contrast as to who we need to lead our country. Sometimes people say that this is a big choice that we have facing us in the next 27 days. This is not a choice. A choice is whether you have pancakes or waffles for breakfast. This is a decision. And a decision is something that you deliberate over, you think about, and you know that once you make a decision, the consequences or the benefits of that decision will not only be impactful on the most important things in your life, but that decision will outlive you. Our kids will have to be responsible for what we decide. So we have a big decision to make as a country, a big decision we need to impart upon and influence others as they make it as a country. And now is not a time for liars. It's a time for leaders. And so what you're doing right now to rally and organize and mobilize is so important. This race is tight. Whether it should be tight or not, that's for historians and political pundits. We know it's tight, but we know how to win. I would rather be us than them. We know what it takes to beat Donald Trump because we have kept beating him ever since 2018 when we made Speaker Pelosi the Speaker of the House. And then in 2020, when again we rallied and elected Joe Biden, we won the Senate, we kept the House. 2022, the big red wave was supposed to wipe everything out that we had built. It never came because we showed up. So we know how to do this. There's a lot of joy in this race, and people talk about the joy and the fun that we've had. And that's in part why I founded with Donnie and David Comics for Kamala. And we've raised a lot of money and have brought resources to the campaign through joy and humor and laughter. That's important. Kamala Harris, one of the best things about her is that she's serious, but she doesn't take herself too seriously. That's important. But on November 5, we don't count joy. We count votes. And so we are in the brutal business of trying to work hard, putting knuckles on every door, putting our fingers on the phone and texting and calling our friends and our neighbors to count votes, because it's votes that's going to decide whether we have a responsible president the next time a crisis hits our country, or whether we have a reckless leader who will always put himself first. So I'm so glad that y'all are doing this. It's important. This is the time to be in it. And I promise you on November 5, if we keep the energy, we're gonna celebrate that this awful dark chapter we've all lived through for the last 9 years is going to close. And in Kamala Harris, we're going to have an exciting leader who's going to write and renew and redeem this great democracy. I'm all in to do it. You guys are all in to do it. I'm going to turn it over to someone who's funnier, more inspiring, and that's George Wallace. But just really honored that you asked me to be a part of this tonight.
Thanks, Representative Swalwell. We really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to be here. And I think you're right. It's the decision and it's the work to make it a reality. So that's why we're here tonight. So thank you so much. Go get them, Swalwell. We need you. Okay, I'm going to ask our incredible organizers to join. They're very generous to give us their time because they have so much to do, so much work that they're doing. So I want to ask Lauren Growergo, who's joined, Kelsey Beck from Fair Fight, Sean Werner and Nicole Zambrano from Sister District, and Nia Bentel from Vote Forward to join us to talk about what we're going to be doing for the rest of the call and why it's so important to do it. I wanted to start with Lauren with the work of Fair Fight. We were talking before the call started just about what's going on the ground in Georgia. There she is. Hi, Nicole. What's going on the ground in Georgia? Obviously, you're having to deal with the impact of Hurricane Helene, in addition to all the other things that you're dealing with. So can you just sort of tell us what's going on? What are these last 26 days looking like for you, and what can we do to help?
So this is a rally, and so I'm going to bring some positive energy. We are currently winning the state of Georgia. Of the voters who have requested a vote by mail ballot, Democrats and Kamala Harris are modeled to be winning about 60% of them. Now, we expect Democrats to win vote by mail because Republicans have demonized vote by mail and that vote method. However, I like to be winning. I like to win every day. So we are winning. That's the good news I bring you. Number two, if we win Georgia, we shut Trump out. His only path to 270 is winning Pennsylvania, Georgia, and North Carolina. He has to sweep those 3 states to have a shot at 270. So with your help, we will stop him in Georgia. Of those 3 states, we are the fastest one to certify and move through a post-election. It's going to be a fight. They're trying to change the rules at the last minute, but we can shut him out in Georgia, while Pennsylvania and North Carolina and Wisconsin and other states have a longer vote counting period. So I bring you the good news that we are tied. We can win this. The momentum is with us. And everybody's very scared and wants to talk to me all day long about all the nutty things the Trump State Election Board is doing, all voter suppression. Y'all, we're in an unprecedented moment. Yes, it is true. At the same time, you're talking about an electorate that is very clear on what's going on. This is a state where 4 years ago, the former president made a phone call to try to strong arm 11,000 votes. Through survey research, focus groups, talking to volunteers, being out in the world. I come to you today from the Fulton County of Georgia. Everybody knows. Swing voters, independents, Democratic leaners, and the core of our party know that they're trying to lie, cheat, and steal. They remember that they failed at doing that 4 years ago, and they know, even if they're not super tuned in, they know they've been spending the last 4 years trying to get ready to do it. And here's the good news that we bring you here from Georgia, is that voters are not dismayed. They've seen this movie. They know their vote matters. They saw what they did. They won the Senate for the nation. They're not confused. They know they have the power, and which is why they're trying to steal it. So we have found that it's actually motivating people because they're not surprised and fearful about it. It's been plain as day. So everybody around the country calls me all the time. Is Brian Kemp going to do the right thing again? Is the state election board going to cause problems? Brian Kemp never does the right thing. Let me be super clear about Brian Kemp. If Georgia had been the tipping point state in 2020, he would have not certified that election. He's a weasel. He's the reason our state election board is empowered. He passed and championed a voter suppression bill that gave them these new powers that they're trying to use. Okay? Donald Trump insulted his wife 2 weeks later. This all just happened about a month ago. He's hosting a fundraiser. Okay, he is not a man of character. Why did he do it 4 years ago? Because Georgia wasn't for 270. Biden had won. It was a low risk proposition. He was not trying to go to jail. So let's be clear. We have to turn out the vote, because if Georgia would be the tipping point state, I'm sure he would try to weasel his way out of it and let the Supreme Court decide. We ain't having that. We are exhausting every single option in Georgia with our allies to turn out the vote, to protect the vote, and then in the post-election, ready to exhaust every single option to prevent them from overturning it. And this is not just us. This is as part of a very broad coalition. And that is what us and leaders across the country are talking about doing in all of the battleground states. So not any one person is going to save us. The courts will certainly not save us, but who will save us are the people. And the people are clear on what's happening. The elections officials in Georgia are clear on what's happening. So this goes to what George Wallace and Kitty and everybody's saying. What we can control is giving our money and our time. Everybody on this call should be a poll worker in their community, period. Everybody on this call should be volunteering to knock doors in their local community. I know we have a lot of Californians on there. Go drive across town and go knock in those targeted congressional races, because we need the U.S. House to be in Democratic hands as we get into this post-election. So work locally and then make those phone calls and do those texts. You're going to get to spend time with Kelsey, my colleague, who has been an organizer on voting, and she's been organizing hurricane relief into South Georgia. She's going to be part of a breakout group to, if you want to help push back on the voter suppression operation in Georgia, she's going to get you in that fight in a way that is helpful for out-of-staters to help. We always enlist out-of-staters in a way that actually makes sense and give them tasks that are helpful and additive and culturally competent, and try to pull you in the right way. So that is one way you can get involved with Fair Fight. And then the last thing I'll say is we have a direct partnership with the Harris operation in all the battleground states through our effort called LFGV. If you're older than me, I'm 44, you might not know LFG means let's freaking go. I'll let you determine what the F really means. Let's freaking go volunteer. Let's freaking go vote. You go to fairfight.com/LFGV. You can sign up to do voter protection work for the Harris campaign or for the DSCC and John Tester and Sherrod Brown. In all those states, you can raise your hand to be a poll worker with Power of the Polls in any state. And then using the Crooked Media Pod Save America world, you can get integrated into Vote Save America. So it's a good way to plug into the capital D Democratic infrastructure. If you want to do nonpartisan work with Fair Fight, we do a ton of nonpartisan voter education work that Kelsey can plug you into, because that is the name of the game. So we can win Georgia and we can shut off Donald Trump's path to the White House again. and your support for Fair Fight and your volunteerism will help deliver those victories around the country. So we're always thrilled to do things with BigTent. We're so grateful for Kitty and this community for all your support. So if you want to help get in the fray in a very easy way, I can think of no better person to spend your evening with than Kelsey Beck, who will give you those insights. So thank you, Kitty. I yield my time.
Oh, thank you so much, Lauren. You're always so inspiring, and you really you let us know that we can do this. I think a lot of us on this call suffer from anxiety about this, and you always calm my nerves. So I really appreciate it. And I just want to give a shout out to my friend Dr. C from Fair Fight, who's on the call too. And so I really encourage everyone to take a look at the voter protection work of Fair Fight, because it really does matter. Okay, so I want to turn the call over to Sean Werner, who is a new friend. He's going to talk to us a little bit about Sister District's work and about phone banking, because I know some people have anxiety about phone banking as well. And so I think Sister District is a great way for people to start to get over that anxiety. So Sean, just tell us sort of what you guys are thinking these last 26 days and how we can help.
Wow, 26 days is exactly when we need as much capacity as we possibly can. Talking to those folks that folks have been speaking through their doors, on their phones throughout the summer, identifying our supporters. Now it's really just making sure that they go out and do that. We've done some research, and the most effective way to engage in the election, if you're not in your local community, so if you're in your local community, go knock on those doors. But if you are unable to actually go onto the ground, phone banking is by far the best way for you to be able to engage, because it creates a conversation with voters. Voters are being inundated with one-way communication, and the nice thing is about phone banking is you get to have a conversation. You're just a person that is equally as concerned about your democracy as the person on the other end of the line. So at Sister District, we basically pair volunteers in key geographic areas where there's an abundance of resources. So for example, a bunch of human capacity as well as a bunch of financial capacity with key state legislative races. I think that we all remember, Ginny Thomas trying to call to Arizona to try to get them to overthrow their legislatures. Well, guess what? We are 2 seats away in the Arizona House and the Arizona Senate from flipping that chamber, so that we have reasonable folks that wouldn't necessarily be willing to throw away the integrity of the vote in Arizona. That's what we do at Sister District, is we pair folks, teams of volunteers with key state legislative districts. We talk a lot about state legislatures because in a post-obs world, we know that unfortunately at this point, a lot of abortion laws are being decided in state capitals. Voting rights, for example, largely decided in state capitals. And by talking to folks about the person that is the closest to them in kind of a legislative seat, and then getting them to go out and vote, that they are more likely to vote up the ticket. Obviously, there are a lot of folks that go in and don't feel certain about voting the whole ways down the ballot. And just in 2022, 63 votes decided control of the Pennsylvania State House. And so in just one seat, by 63 votes, we were able to ultimately flip that chamber for the first time in nearly a decade. I say all of that, and this sounds intense, but we will provide everything: information about who you'll be calling, information about who you'll be calling for, best practices and tips, and the nicest thing is that you're in a sense of community. And so we all join on Zooms. Folks get to see other folks having similar conversations, sometimes similar frustrations, but I don't want to scare you away, because that voter that you get who just hadn't really thought about it, and that conversation that you have with them gets them to go to the polls, is just one more vote in sometimes the smallest of margins in our state legislatures, like 63 votes in Pennsylvania. My colleague Nicole is literally the best in the business, and is literally with such joy and a sense of community. Come together. We're going to do a little session about the importance of phone banking, how you can join their ranks. We're in 9 different states. They're also all the battleground states, and really hope to not only do that voter engagement that turns out for the state legislatures, but helps up the ticket as well. So we hope that you'll learn a little bit more about phone banking, and I promise we'll help you get over the anxiety of making the calls, and then you'll be getting rid of your electoral anxiety through making those calls. So please join us. Thanks for being here. And thanks, Kitty, for organizing this. This is really fun.
Thanks, Sean. See, it's the double edge. It's the anxiety, and you're going to help us get over that. We really appreciate it. And now I just want to turn the call over to Nia Bental from Vote Forward. Vote Forward is one of our partners, and I think we're at 35,000 letters that BigTent has sent out. So we're feeling excited, but we know there's more work to do. So Nia, just tell us what you guys are focused on for these last 3.5 weeks, and how we can help.
Wow, 35,000 letters is incredible. Thank you so much to this community for writing all of those. As Kitty said, my name is Nia. I am the Director of Mobilization at Vote Forward, and we're an organization that's working this election cycle to write 10 million letters to encourage citizens in underrepresented communities to vote. It's easy to get started. You can email activism@bigtentusa.org to get writing with BigTent. They'll have that link in the chat for you. Writing letters to voters is fun, it's easy, and it's flexible. You can participate as an individual at home while you're watching Netflix, after the kids have gone to bed, or you can get a group together to write, to bring letters to an existing event like a book club or something like that. We have a lot of events at wine bars at Vote Forward, which we really enjoy. Letter writing is something tactile that we often hear helps soothe anxiety about the election. It's the theme tonight, and it's a nice constructive break from the doom scrolling. And you can have confidence that these letters actually work, because over the past 6 years, Vote Forward has tested the effectiveness of its letters on voter turnout more than 20 times through randomized control trials, or RCTs, the gold standard in research for evaluating the effectiveness of a particular intervention. And we've measured a positive impact nearly every time. So we have consistently demonstrated that Vote Forward letters mobilize voters at the polling booth and via absentee ballot in multiple states and in multiple types of elections. The voters who we are writing to are surge voters. So these are people who skipped the 2016 election, but who have cast ballots in other recent elections. So in other words, they don't vote in every major election, but they've demonstrated some recent motivation to vote. Because voter turnout has surged to historic levels in the elections following 2016, powered by these voters who are either new to voting or not consistent in their voting habits. And our goal is to make sure that these historically high turnout levels are the new normal by encouraging these surge voters to keep showing up year after year. We also will include younger voters who were not old enough to register and vote in 2016, and we're considering their registration a signal of their intention to vote, and our letters are going to help encourage them to follow through. So in our social campaigns this year, which is the campaigns that BigTent are writing, we are writing to surge voters who are under 35.
Okay, thanks so much, everyone. It was so great to see you. We really appreciate it.
If you have any questions, just go to our website, bigtentusa.org, and we have a lot of different options for you to sign up and do something. Thanks, everyone.